Our church is at a crossroads. Many remember the days of Sunday's Best, where it seems the whole community was lined in the pews on Sundays, and asked why they went, the answers were probably simple. Because you're supposed to. It's the Sabbath. Or, we just always have. That doesn't seem to be the case in our churches now. We long for a better attendance and greater resources. Was this time of old what we again long for? And was it better then than it is now? Our weekly worship event has been replaced by other events. Whereas in the old days, Sundays were for church and family. Today, it is a day filled with sports, work, travel, and chores. In many families, it may be the only day that they're able to visit with one another and enjoy each other's company. Regardless of what we long for in our church communities, society has changed, thus making the old days simply that, a time gone by. So the question remains, what do we do when a Sunday soccer league has 2 to 3 times the number of participants than our Sunday worship? Why is church membership on the decline? Where are the people outside our church doors getting their spiritual nurture? What can we do to grow our faith in Christ while making sure that we have a sustainable and healthy church? Or even the question, what is church? What we must fully understand without answering the questions, there exists a new paradigm of society. Our church will either succeed or fail, depending on us understanding this. Another ingredient that illustrates this paradigm shift is how our greater community sees religion in general. According to a December 22, 2010 Pew Research Center survey, fewer than 4 in 10 people living in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Alaska say that religion is very important to them. This number highlights the fact that New Hampshire and Vermont have become the least religious states in the nation. How do we reverse that number? How do we as church leaders, ministers, members, and supporters speak to the other 64% of our neighbors and friends and show them the church can answer their spiritual questions and be relevant in their lives? How do we answer the critics that say that religion is just not important? How do we not get stuck in a paradigm that is working for so few? First, we must pray for guidance. We must pray for our church. Our prayers are the bedrock of our faith and open us to the working of God's Spirit. No matter how we move forward in trying to tackle this new paradigm, prayer will be the foundation of all our efforts. There's good news for all of us in attempting to right the ship of our churches. We know God is a great God. That gospel is good news to our world. A change in paradigm is requiring us to become clearer about why we find God in Jesus Christ. With prayer as our foundation, we can start to rediscover why we are Christians and what does this mean. Before we can ask people to come and experience the sense of belonging and peace that comes from a relation with Christ, we must define it ourselves first. As a committee, we do not have all the answers to how we go about embracing and thriving in this new paradigm. The committee, like the greater church, starts with prayer and then openly discusses the same questions that you have. We have found that Unbinding the Gospel by Martha Grace Reese helps us both to pray and define our faith. So we feel with God's leading that study of Unbinding the Gospel presents us with an opportunity to understand the new paradigm. Currently, there are 3 churches testing this program in the state of New Hampshire, and we look forward to learning from their process. The A New Thing Task Force will monitor their process and invite you into thinking about how your church might like to engage in the discussion and discernment. Our goal is to enable support to each other in the challenges of change. So where do we go from here? We start by asking all of you to think and pray what our greater church community must do to adjust to the new paradigm in our society. Pray for the churches testing out Unbinding the Gospel. Pray for how we can support each other, engage in this discussion, and lift us up into God's care.